Hi, I'm Danny, and today I will be doing my June wrap-up. The first book I read this month was The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torrey. This is about a girl named Jessica who has locked herself in her apartment because she has murderous tendencies. She supplements her income by being a cam girl on the internet, and she's kind of crushing on this UPS guy who is pretty much the only person she really sees, but she only sees him. He can't see her. She ends up going on this adventure to try and find this little girl, which requires her to leave her apartment, which is dangerous enough because anytime she sees somebody, she just has this urge to kill them and run her fingers through their blood, and so she's very disturbed. Anyway, Jessica ends up finding out about this pedophile who comes on her site, and she ends up finding out that he actually ends up kidnapping this little girl called Annie, which is what he always called her, and she ends up going on this adventure trying to find this little girl before he does anything bad to her. I gave this book about a 2.5. It was good, but it wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. I was hoping for a lot more killing than this book let on. You spent most of the book in her apartment, locked away from the rest of the world, and it is kind of interesting to be in her head, but I was hoping for a lot more. Now, my second book is a reread, and that is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. The next book in the series is coming out pretty soon, so I am trying to recap at least one book a month until the next one comes out. I think I am on track. I think I'm actually one book behind, so I may have to read 2 books in 1 month, but we'll see. So I am looking forward to reading the next few books. Well, not quite the next book because I didn't like the next one too much, but I am looking forward to seeing what things I forgot that I did not remember. And I gave this one a 4-star. The first time I gave this a 5-star, but this time I gave it a 4-star, but I still really liked it. The next book I read was The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This is the bind up of the prequel novellas that go with the Throne of Glass series. I was hoping for a lot more. The stories definitely were interesting, and there were definitely parts of the stories that I really enjoyed. My 2 favorite stories from here were probably The Assassin and the Healer and The Assassin in the Desert. And now I actually see that there were a whole bunch of people saying you should probably read these before you read the Throne of Glass series. And I can see why, because you find out about some characters in the actual series that you hear of in this book, and I definitely see now where those people come in and where they could come in at later books. The next book I read was The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This book was not as great as I was hoping it would be. I definitely see why a bunch of people say you should probably read this before you read the Throne of Glass series, although some people say you can read the series without reading this. But I am glad that I read it because I found out of a bunch of characters who were mentioned in like the 3rd and 4th book of the Throne of Glass series that I didn't know about before, and I can definitely see how they may come into play with the series later on. I definitely think you could go without reading this, and the characters will probably still be explained. I know a few of them have come in and you've gotten very brief discussions and a mention of how they knew each other, but not like a huge discussion. Yeah, I think my favorite 2 from here were The Assassin and the Healer and The Assassin and the Desert. Those were my 2 favorite stories, and I kind of did like Sam. Like, since I kind of knew how it was going to end, I wasn't too invested in their relationship because I knew how that was going to end. But I do think you can go without reading this, but if you wanted some extra stories, some of Celaena's life before she went into Endovier, I think you should read it. But I also, like I said, I think you could go without it. But I gave this a solid 3-star rating. The next 2 books were rereads for me. I felt like reading these again. I know I didn't read them too long ago, but I felt like rereading them again, and that is Goddess of Legend and Goddess of the Spring. This is a retelling of Camelot and Excalibur and Arthur, and this is a retelling of Hades and Persephone. They are modern women who somehow get into accidents or get into trouble, and so the goddesses come to them and offer their help if they do something for them. Like this one, Isabel was dying from a car accident. Her car drove into a lake and she was drowning. So the goddess of the water comes to her and offers her. So if you go back to Camelot and help Arthur try to keep from getting heartbroken from his wife and his best friend falling in love, I will help save your life and help you live. And I gave this one a 3-star rating again. Then there was Goddess of the Spring. This is a retelling of Hades' Empress Stephanie. And I gave this one a 3.5 rating. I think last time I gave it a 4. So there's a girl, her bakery is starting to fail. So the goddess comes to her and offers to help her save her bakery if she trades place with her goddess Persephone when she goes to Hades and try and